Alright guys, so here's the situation. I've been working on a John Wick video for a while now, I think a few weeks, and on top of that I've been super busy with other stuff. I've been looking for another job, and dude, finding a job is kind of like its own job within itself, dude. So because of both of those things, I haven't really uploaded anything in the last 3 weeks or so. And the John Wick video isn't going to be done for like, let's be honest, a couple months. It's going to be a few hours long, and I don't really want to rush it or anything. So I thought in the meantime, I could post a few shorter half-hour long videos for you guys, talking about some other movies that I've seen recently. I wanted to talk about a movie that I'm really late to. It's not a new movie by any means. It came out a while ago. It's called Equalizer 3. Now, I've never seen the Equalizer 1. I saw the Equalizer 2 and thought it was a really good movie. The Equalizer movies are pretty much what I would consider to be the only competitor to John Wick. It's like we don't really have that many action movie series that aren't DC or Marvel superhero movies, to be honest. It's just like the Equalizer and John Wick and like Fast and Furious, I guess. Not really though. I mean, there's like the Beekeeper movie, if you're into that. Oh, you saw John Wick in the Equalizer already and you want more action? Well, fuck you, go watch The Flash. Now, I'm obviously just speaking on American movies. I don't really know what goes on in the film industries of other countries, but throughout all of 2023 and early this year, we didn't really get that many action movies that weren't Marvel or DC superhero movies, besides like Mission Impossible, The Equalizer, and John Wick. I mean, I guess I'll just check. What do we have? We have Shazam, what is this? Knights of the Zodiac, I guess. I mean, you never know. It could be good. Give it the benefit of the doubt. We got Freelance. Okay. We got Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. I've been proven wrong. We've gotten many amazing action movies that weren't Marvel and DC related. Dungeons and Dragons, Freelance, and Knights of the Zodiac. Sometimes I just really hate being born in this generation. Like back in the day, 80s and 90s, there were so many action movies that weren't superhero related. There was almost too many, and they were all good. We had RoboCop. We had the Terminator, dude, Indiana Jones, Rambo, dude. Like, what happened? It was just hits after hits after hits, and none of these were a part of some series. These weren't a part of some established franchise. These were new, fresh ideas. Back then, movie studios weren't babies. They weren't like, oh, we have this new idea, but well, nobody will trust it because it's not an established IP that's been running for 10 years. Let's just like switch it and morph it to make it a sequel to a series we already have. And fans were dope as hell too. They would actually go out of their way and try new things and watch new movies that they had never heard of. Because it's not all the movie studio's fault either. It's the people's fault as well. Because whenever a really good lightning in a bottle action movie does come out like every like 4 or 5 years, nobody fucking cares. Nobody sees it. Because in the 2020s, people have brain rot so bad that their attention spans are so low that they're so afraid of wasting like 2 hours of their time on a movie that could potentially be bad that they only want to watch things that will give them the content that they expect. Why watch a movie like The Northman with no celebrity actors in it? That's a new idea that you've never heard before when you can just watch Fast and Furious 27, a movie where you know exactly what to expect and what you're paying for and what you're spending 2 hours of your life on, instead of take a risk for something that could potentially be bad. How do both of these movies flop? Both of these perfect, flawless movies flop. Insanity. And the reason I say besides superhero movies is because I don't really consider Marvel or DC movies action movies. They're not. There's something else. Maybe it's because of the writing and how there's like some type of bathos or joke every 4 seconds and nothing can ever be taken seriously and there's never any stakes that don't have some joke being made about them every 4 seconds. Or maybe it's the fact that I don't really remember any of them I've seen having any type of graphic violence or gore or anything ever. I don't know. But I'm rambling a lot. Let's get back to The Equalizer. So the Equalizer series follows a man named Robert McCall, who is a retired secret agent or military guy or something like that. And throughout these different movies, McCall finds himself in different situations where he has to basically be a vigilante and rise up against injustice. Whether that means fighting the mafia in Italy or the Russian mob, he just gets himself into these situations where there's people he cares about and he has to put his past behind him and just basically help them. The first action scene scene of the movie has Robert McCall, who I'm just going to refer to as Denzel for the rest of this video, being held at gunpoint in the back of this vineyard. Now, the first thing I want to mention is that even though Denzel is one of the greatest actors to ever live, he is 69 years old. And because of that, a lot of the action in this movie just seems really unrealistic to me. I've never seen a 70-year-old in my entire life move this quickly and be able to take out like 5 armed men. I mean, maybe it's possible. I mean, it's what I'm seeing on screen, but I've never in my life seen a 70-year-old man be able to do this. Like, I could see 50, right? Even 50, 55, 60 is a stretch, but 70 fucking years old. I think it's because of Denzel's age that we don't really see that many fight scenes in this movie. And the ones that we do see, the fighting is either implied and you don't really get a good look at it, or Denzel just effortlessly takes out a bunch of goons using stealth and never even has to actually fight them. He just sneaks up on them and then just stabs them in the back of their neck. And once you notice it, you can't really unnotice it that this movie tries to hide a lot of its action. The Equalizer 1 and even the Equalizer 2 had a lot more actual fight scenes, but this one doesn't really have any, to be honest. And I don't really blame them. He's fucking 70. And I don't mean any disrespect to Denzel when I say this. This is one of the greatest actors ever. If you being in an action movie means so many things have to be hidden or implied or jump cut a million times, then maybe you shouldn't be the main character in action movies like this. Like, I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry. It's the truth, okay? I'm sorry. The plot of this movie is that Denzel gets shot in the back and then has trouble walking, but finds this really cool doctor in Italy that nurses him back to health in like a month or so. I'm serious, like 1 month, and he's just like back to normal after being shot in the spine. He comes back and then decides that Italy is really nice and that he wants to live in this small town for the rest of his life, but then realizes that the town is being terrorized by the mafia. So throughout the whole movie, there's like this super cliche mafia gang, and they go around and like beat people up and like shake people down to get money out of them. So there's only 3 real fight scenes in this movie. The one scene at the beginning that I showed you guys already in like the wine factory place. Then there's a scene later where he crashes a car into somebody and breaks somebody's arm. And then there's the final scene at the end where he takes down all of the mafia guys in this town. And it's not really that bad of a scene. My main complaint is that throughout this entire movie, Denzel doesn't even really seem to struggle with taking down the villains at all. The only thing he really seems to struggle with is his back problems, but that's for only like the first third of the movie. He recovers, and the rest of the movie he just goes around like normal. So it's not really a struggle, and it doesn't really stop him from defeating any of the villains because he doesn't really find out they exist until after he gets better. So like, what's the point? I don't think any of the bad guys in this movie even managed to hit Denzel back one time. Like, I don't even think he gets punched one time. In the final fight of this movie, Denzel just goes throughout this mansion or hideout where the mafia guys are staying and just effortlessly backstabs all of them like it's Skyrim or something. He takes everybody out except for the main leader guy, and then he finds the leader and then just slaps him in the face one time. GG, he wins. Like, and this is the main bad guy of the whole movie. That's it. He just slaps him. He's done. And it's like, dude, there's no stakes here. There's no suspense. There's no action. There's no anything. This big bad guy that's been hyped up throughout the whole movie as being super tough and being like emotionless and killing so many people just gets put down with one slap to the forehead. He had like 1 point in vitality or something. Like, how do you get slapped in the forehead one time and you're just done? Compare this to the final fight in Equalizer 2 and you'll just see how much of a step down this is. Look, a fight scene. Whoa! He actually fights and fights the guy and doesn't slap him one time in the forehead, and it actually takes effort and he has to try. Like, I'm like, you know, like, come on, isn't that so much better? Like, oh man, what happened? And the waves wash him away. Like, it never even happened. Like, oh man, this was so good, bro. Oh my god, I don't know, man. This was such a good movie, dude. What happened? So in the last 2 movies, it's been established that Denzel is a really nice guy and goes out of his way to help people around him. But in this movie, it's like that's all his character really is. There's entire scenes of this movie that is basically just, the purpose of them is to tell the audience how much of a nice guy Denzel is. I'm serious, like, people will talk at length about how much of a stand-up guy that he is and how much you should like him and how much he should be your favorite character.
Is that your go bag? No, it's $366,400.
So what's it for?
Greg Dyer, he's a bricklayer, 43 years, retired. His union's pension fund got hacked 9 months ago.
So you tracked down some guy's life savings to a cyber ghost that no one has been able to find for years. And you snipe your way into a fortified room, millions of dollars, bearer bonds, account codes. All you take is 300 grand of Dwyer's pension.
366,400.
Now, the movie couldn't actually show Denzel doing all these things and sneaking into this base and, like, sniping these people because he's, like, 70 years old. But what we can do is have some character just hype him up and be like, oh my god, there was millions of dollars there, but you only took 366,000 and you're not going to even keep it? You're going to give it away? And then Denzel is going to be like, yeah, I did. Aren't I the coolest guy ever? Am I cooler than John Wick now? Am I awesome? Also, there's a lot of times in this movie when you can really see that Denzel is too good for this movie. It's like he's too good of an actor that it just makes all of the other actors look like they're doing some type of high school play or something.
This scene just feels bad.
Because it is bad.
Like, the shots are awful. What are these shots? Why are these wide shots? They just feel awful. They make it look not professional at all.
Even better, a farm that bundles methamphetamine based.
This is like
yeah, it's so bad.
yeah, this woman is not a good actor.
Who are you? What were you doing on that farm?
Who starts a conversation like, isn't this supposed to be confidential? She's speaking so loudly. I'm so confused. Like, isn't this information like not supposed to be available to the public? She's yeah. Who are you? Why do you know about the methamphetamines at the farm in Sicily? Why are you so loud? This is a public place. Oh, this is awful. What is this?
I told you this is bad.
This makes me think that somebody's about to get naked. Like, I think this is a scene. Like, that's how bad the acting were. Like, she's about to start sucking Denzel off.
Games with me.
See, look at that. What is it? You don't want to play games. What? What is this bad acting? You don't want to play games with me.
You don't want to play games with me.
This is acting. This is ads. This is propaganda.
I gotta censor so much of this. Oh my.
Propaganda.
Oh my god.
That my teeth.
Who do you work for?
Who do you work for? Like,
oh, terrible. Terrible.
Oh my god.
Why would he?
From? I can just take you in and we can do this at our office.
This is a
This is a scene, dude. This is so. This is a scene, dude.
Oh no! Oh man!
You need jurisdictional approval for that, unless you want to take me to a black site, torture me.
Says the man who knew which agency line to call. Where'd you get that number?
In the book,
What book?
little black book. It's dry, sandpapery sound.
Work on that.
You should.
Oh, what is this shot?
Yeah,
It's just
Denzel is such a good actor, and she's so terrible. And this shot is terrible.
Yeah, what is this shot?
What
It's
is
horrible.
Horrible.
Oh god, it just transitions to it
We
so
could make a better
harshly.
shot. First off, back away from them. It's like, why are we seeing the back of his head vein? Like, I don't like that. This isn't good.
I
like,
yeah.
It's not good. It's not it. It's not it. Just
And then
back
look how
away
it
from them a
abruptly
bit.
cuts to this shot. They're like, back away?
Work on that.
Oh, you want us to back away? Sure, we'll back away. Like,
Sure.
it's just like,
And then
oh.
while he says the word sure, let me switch cameras. Stop
Yeah.
cutting. You don't need to cut every 2 seconds either. This isn't an action scene. They're just talking. Pick a shot and just stay there. Why do they keep cutting?
Drugs are a dangerous occupation.
Dude, Denzel is so good at acting. He like does little mannerisms and stuff like to show his
Yeah.
nervousness. It's so good because
Yeah.
it's like he's not showing her. He's not acting nervous. He's nervous in the way he's like acting and moving. Like he's making little adjustments
Yeah.
to the chair and to this because he's
Exactly.
nervous, right? And it's so good,
Exactly.
but he doesn't show that
Yeah.
to her. Right,
Yeah.
it's so amazing. Like
Yeah,
he's such
he's
a
a good
good actor, and it's like he'll talk and pause. Like the pauses are.
See,
just
look at
as
the way he's
important.
adjusting.
Yeah.
Like the cadence with the way he speaks, and
He
tonality,
pauses and
everything
gives
is
himself
perfect.
room. He's not just like, "Who are you?" Why does she say every sentence with like the same like tone?
Intonation. Yeah, everything is with the same
Who are
intonation.
you? How
Who
did
are
you
you?
find me?
How I
Are you
found
wondering
you?
How I found you? What do you mean? What? Okay.
Already in the works.
Oh, good.
Already in the works? Oh my god.
Yeah, she just says everything the same.
Everything ends like this?
I'm just getting started.
Just getting started? Oh my god, I'm imagining her walking out and then just like, you're like covering her hand with her mouth and like giggling. We did it, we finished the scene. Like as she walks out and starts jumping up and down
just
happily,
so,
and then her
like-
director hugs her and pats her on the back. Good job! You did it! Like that's what I'm picturing. Like that's a walk, as if that just happened. Like that's what happened here. Look at this walk. She smiles, walks to the director. He's like, yes! Like no, that's what happened.
Also, the dude that Denzel steals money to pay for his pension, this woman brings him the backpack with all of the money in it, and he opens it, and she's like, can I take the money out? So he reaches his hand in to take out the money, but he like reaches his hand all the way down to the bottom of the bag. Like, I'd assumed that the bag would be overflowing with money, right? Like if it's bands of $100 bills making up $366,000, wouldn't it barely even fit in this bag? Like you wouldn't have to reach your hand all the way down to the bottom to just pull out like wads of bills. And another thing about this movie that doesn't really make any sense is that the main villain, this big bad mafia guy, Denzel ends up killing his brother, and he's super mad about it, but he doesn't know who killed him. So he goes into the town square of this place and just starts shooting bullets and threatening people because he wants to know who killed his brother. So Denzel Washington walks out, like right out into the open, and it's just like, I did it. I killed your brother. And then the guy is just like, okay, cool. So they like monologue to each other until like the other townspeople like start drawing guns on the mafia guy, and then he's like, we'll be back. These people won't be here to protect you forever. And he gets in his car and they all drive away. And it's like, bro, in what universe does Denzel just walk out and is like, I killed your brother? And the other guy's like, oh, okay, cool. Blow. End of movie. That was easy. Bye. And just leaves. Like I don't like. So if he wasn't there to kill the guy who killed his brother, then why was he there? Because the guy who killed his brother was right in front of his face, and he just did nothing and just waited for all of the other townspeople to get out their guns and start aiming them at him. So the movie's explanation for this is that they don't want to kill Denzel right here or have any other casualties because there's a bunch of people watching and there's witnesses and there's people filming. But that's dumb because there's been instances before this in the movie where they had no problem killing people out in the open. There's this one scene where they kill this dude that's in a wheelchair and they just leave him dangling on the outside of this window for everybody to see. So it's not like their existence is a secret or something. They don't want to be exposed. Everybody who lives here knows exactly who they are and what they do, and that they kill people. So what's the difference between killing this wheelchair guy and just letting him like dangle there for everybody to see so that they know that the mafia killed them to spread a message, and just headshotting Denzel right here and then leaving? Well, I'll tell you right now. The difference is this: if they kill the wheelchair guy, the movie doesn't fucking end. But after all of that, this movie doesn't even really know how to end. The ending of the movie just like you. It keeps fading to black over and over, but instead of the movie ending so you can go home, it just reopens again on a new scene. It'll have some type of conclusion scene, and then it'll fade to black, and it'll make you think, oh, nice, end of movie, and then it'll just fade back in again, and then it'll just do another conclusion scene, and then fade to black. It's like they had 5 endings in mind, but they couldn't decide. So they were like, okay, we'll just use all of them. Fuck it. So the movie just fades to black and then unfades back into the movie. And then it just ends abruptly. And it's like, what the fuck? I want to go home. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the Equalizer 3. It gave me something to look at while I ate lunch, I guess. I would say that this is just a turn your brain off action movie that you can watch, but that would be wrong. I would be lying to you. This isn't really a movie you can watch with your brain off. You need to actively be using it. But the thing that sucks is that when you use your brain, you also become more aware of like dumb shit. Like somebody ransacking a whole town to find out who killed their brother, and then when they find him, they're just like, oh, hey bro. Putting this into the bad movies tier list, I don't really think it's on the level of fuckery that any of these other movies are. So far, the best movie we have on this tier list is Morbius, which it kind of says how bad the other movies are, but it kind of also shows that Morbius isn't really that bad of a movie. After careful consideration, me and the rest of the council have decided to put the Equalizer 3 at it's pretty bad tier, because it's pretty bad, but not on the level of bad that the other movies are. I think the main thing this movie has going for it compared to the other movies is that it's actually coherent. And like you can sit down and watch it and then get up and just be like, wow, I watched the movie. Like you can't really do that with a lot of the other movies on this list. Yeah, that's pretty much it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and go check out the podcast. And I think that's pretty much it. See you guys later.